because already for me, there's a lot I don't understand, and I'm learning now, yeah, so. Any input on that?
I worked for lawyers for many, many years, and most people do not understand anything about the law. That's the truth. That's why they go to lawyers, because they really don't understand the intricacies of the law. So, I mean, they could, I guess, look it up themselves, but sometimes the law is so complex, and there's all these other laws that affect the other laws, so sometimes, and I think if you're not, I used to deal in real estate, and back in Connecticut, I did a lot of first-time buyers, sales. You know, back in Connecticut, the lawyers handle the transaction, not escrow companies like here. So I basically did the whole transaction, and you know, for me, I did it every single day. So I knew all the laws about what we had to do and what we couldn't do and all that. But buyers don't know how many times you buy a house in your life, or how many times you sell a house in your life. So if you don't come into contact with laws, you're probably not going to understand that, because it's just so complex.
Marsha, I saw your hand. I'm sorry, Jean.
I think that the sheer volume of laws, of course, the general public can't keep up with it. I mean, we know the ones that, you know, really directly affect us, like
But there's so
not
many
speeding
exceptions,
or
Right?
But there's so many exceptions
Yeah.
too. I found out when I was working for lawyers. I started right out of high school, and I
Yeah.
learned a lot over the years. And you know, this is the law. This is the law. This is the law. Except
Yeah.
it doesn't apply to this case or that case, and then in that case this applies, and it's like, you know, it can get really complicated.
Yeah.
Jamie.
I just think that you could flip that question and you could say, do the police understand the law? Do judges understand the law? Like, everybody's coming from their perspective.
Right.
And so, you know, we deal with, it takes 100, we deal with social workers all the time, right? There's federally mandated, this is the law. You have to do this. And then we have all of these foster families or resource caregivers that go, I can't get that information, or I was never told this, or whatever. And it's like, it's the law. You know, the state is fined if you don't follow these particular mandates. But, you know, some people, it's their day-to-day job, and they don't know the specific law that even applies to them and what they're doing on a day-to-day basis.
I'm getting a headache already. That's so much, right? To keep you.
You know, I mean, I've heard stories where police officers have shown up at houses and said things that you think, actually, that's against the law. Like, they can't say that to that person, or, you know?
It's kind of like when Jared came and talked to us, he says, legislature creates the laws, the judiciary interprets the laws. So it's under interpretation. So one judge may interpret a law completely differently from another judge. They're both equal as far as being a judge is concerned, but one may say it one way, one may say it the other way, and depending on which judge you get, it may be in your favor, or you may be in deep trouble. So.
That's scary. I'm sitting here, I'm like, I've been to court a lot. You didn't even know you know, I you know, and it's like I was thinking, put it about framework. You know, it's where it's framed for them, right?
Yeah.
That's true.
That's scary.
Yeah, they're my
Going back to the question, anybody else?
You know, I get thrown off, man, when I hear on the radio, you know, the law where, you know, same-sex marriage in a certain state, and the judge is refusing to marry them now, you know, following the law, and I say, what? You know, you're supposed to uphold the law, and you know, you can't just say you don't want to do something because you don't want to.
Right now, it's a conflict of personal
Yeah,
interest.
right. It's just unbelievable.
Wicked shit. I saw your hand.
This is nickname now.
Love it.
Yeah, you got a great Hawaii is a diverse place.
Yeah.
Everybody comes from different, you know, nations. Different laws,
Yeah.
you know, applied in each of the nations. So we come over here, different laws too. We don't really understand, right? For example, I came from a tiny atoll. No traffic lights. No.
The red one needs stop, the green one needs go.
Yeah,
very fast.
So imagine people coming from my place. How would they understand this kind of laws over here? Yeah, so it's,
It's like culture shock, if you think
Yeah.
about it, right? To something so, I mean, geez, so and I'm not trying to offend, but more developed, right? Because, you know, we've got Westerner, you know, and
Yeah.
the culture is much more, can be intimidating, you know? Culture shock, fear of, and probably I understand why, well, the understanding that gap, right?
yeah, and I just remember another thing. Bringing clams to over here is a law, yeah? It's against the law. You cannot bring clams.
Note to self, not letting
So, in our islands, clams is way in our ocean. We take
No, girl, share it,
wherever we go on the
Bring clams.
Micronesian islands, it's not against any law. Yeah. So for people who come from there, bringing clams over here, get into trouble for bringing clams in here. But just they don't understand. This is not a law back there.
And it's not like your flight here, they give you a
Yeah.
packet of laws,
And
what
they
you
bring
need to
in
do.
more food for relatives over here.
And
or
they're good.
But the law, it's the law over here. And it's not a matter of going against it, but it's just a matter of
The
not being
knowledge.
educated about it and not being aware. I think.
So I think we kind of understand that, you know, the public, for the most part, doesn't understand the law, but they they say, well, ignorance is no excuse. Well, how can we possibly know all of the things that, you know, that we need to know?
It's a learn as you go system.
Yeah.
It's almost intimidating though, right?
It's a punish as you go.
Yeah.
It's not, because I turn off, I'm switching off. I mean, there are points where I'm hearing so much that I'm overwhelmed and my ADD, I'll be honest, it just shuts off. I'm already like, oh, what? Well, that's pretty. It's intimidating that way. And when it comes to the language, I'm lost. I mean, I need it repeated and repeated. I need someone patient enough to explain it to me, so I totally understand. And I'm from here. Anyway. Okay.
There's a chart on this side too.
Okay, so what makes a law accountable to the public?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, I don't really understand the question.
Right?
So is
We
the question,
were like,
is the question
girl, what is
asked, like,
accountable?
is the public benefiting from it? Is that what you're asking?
Well, we Googled accountable
Right?
when I saw it.
Is it responsible, yeah? I mean, we tried to break it down word for word. What makes a law accountable or responsible to, you know, to the public?
You give an example.
An
Marty, would you like
example.
Okay, here, I'm gonna. Okay,
Nice.
so